Hello, my name is Christine Derricks and I am the Information Architecture Consultant from Northeastern University. This presentation is for the CBODN Board of Directors and I am here to propose information architecture improvements to your website. Let me go over the presentation roadmap. First I will give an executive summary just to give you a broad understanding of the evaluation and proposed redesign. Then I will cover my goals for this evaluation, the scope of my work, my research methodology, positive results from my evaluation, issues uncovered from my evaluation, my recommendations, and I'll be showing you some prototypes, explain the business rationale for redesigning, and discuss next steps. Members and non-members primarily visit the website to find upcoming events and opportunities. There's also a third group of people that I'll call partners who aren't primarily looking to attend an event, but who may want to sponsor your organization or request something like your endorsement. I understand that within the last year or so, a professional design firm redesigned the website and that the board of directors chose the organizational and labeling systems for the new design. And currently, nonprofit professionals from association management companies help to manage the website. To uncover information architecture issues, I conducted card sorts and a navigational stress test and performed a usability heuristic review. After analyzing test results, I am recommending improvements to your website's nomenclature, search system, labels, navigation, and organization. So, what were the goals of this evaluation and proposed redesign? Web users' expectations for finding information quickly and intuitively are only growing. So I determined that the goals of this redesign were to make it as easy as possible for OD professionals to find upcoming events, make it easy for partners to contact CBODN, and make the site feel like a place for OD practitioners to connect, build community, and springboard into real-life events. I plan to explain my overall recommendations and show 3 prototypes that demonstrate how my recommendations would appear on a redesigned website. I have 1 prototype for the home page and 2 prototypes for 2 subsites that non-members can access, so I did not include the members-only content in this evaluation. To substantiate my recommendations, I conducted an array of research. First, I interviewed Jessica Zuckel, the CBODN president, about CBODN's community, the content of the site, and the context in which the content is used. I conducted 2 card sorts, one open, one closed. The open card sort allowed test participants to write their own category labels and was used more for discovery purposes. The closed card sort gave me a sense of whether or not your categories and labels worked for test participants, and I discovered users' reaction to the high-level organization and labeling schemas. Since card sorts don't present labels in the context of your actual site, I employed more methods. The navigational stress test is where participants are given a black and white copy of a random subsite and asked if they can tell where they are, how to get home, and what information is far and near. I had 4 participants for this test. I conducted a heuristic review, which is more of a usability test, but it does help make sure common sense usability is incorporated into the site. I also researched other sites that have similar missions to possibly copy what others are doing. I looked at other professional organizational sites like odnetwork.org. I also requested search engine log files, but was unable to obtain them in time for this presentation. These would provide evidence of what words your users use based on their search terms. I would be more than happy to analyze the logs and perhaps fine-tune my recommendations in the future. On to the positive results. I found 7 positive results from my evaluation. The closed card sort revealed that test participants mostly agreed on where 75% of your content belongs. The open card sort revealed that test participants also used the words about, membership, and conference, and placed mostly the same information under those labels. I observed that CBODN's organizational structure is mostly shallow, which prevents users from being overloaded with too many options. The back and forward buttons work seamlessly. CBODN's name, logo, and graphics extend to all subsites, including its Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages. The global navigational bar highlights the tab where a user is presently. The navigational stress test revealed that users found it easy to identify the name of the site, the title of the subsite, and the way to go directly home. Next, let me discuss the issues I found, and then I'll transition into my recommendations. The closed card sort revealed that test participants did not agree where volunteers, community, special interest groups, and sponsorship belonged. The open card sort revealed that test participants were more likely to use the word events to represent evening programs, workshops, webinars, and the conference. Findings number 3 and 4, both card sorts suggested that the job label unintentionally insinuates that you can apply for a job at CBODN, and test participants never put member directory and consultant directory in a community category. Number 5, multiple yet similar words were used to convey the same meaning in some cases. And for this finding, let me just switch to the actual website here. The fastest way for a non-member to find a list of all upcoming events, not just the evening programs, was roundabout. I had to navigate to the jobs section, pretend like I was accessing an OD job. This landed me on the old CBODN website, and then finally I saw the events calendar. Issue number 7. The use of breadcrumbs was inconsistent. Sometimes they were there, sometimes not. And lastly, finding number 8, search terms that should have return results like ZooCall, Richmond, or benefits return 0 results. As a result of my findings, I would like to make the following 8 recommendations. Regarding the nomenclature, I recommend developing a controlled vocabulary to address the inconsistent nomenclature. For example, I observed that OD professionals were sometimes called OD practitioners and other times participants. The table here is a good starting place for capturing CBODN's controlled vocabulary. Regarding the search system, I recommend removing the search bar/engine. Information architects would recommend a search engine only if the site is over 25 pages, if users expected it, if the organization is fragmented into separate business units, if the site featured a lot of technical support, or if the site was like a library of information. In your case, the search engine may be hurting CBODN's image more than helping users find content. I'm certain that strong organizational and navigational systems will be the primary way for users to seek and find information. Of course, search engine log files analysis could alter this recommendation in the future. Regarding the website's labels, I recommend altering some to match the words that users expect. In the global navigation, I recommend changing the program's label with events and calling evening programs evening events. I also recommend changing the job label with job exchange. That's a term that odnetwork.org used. Recommendation number 4. So users know their exact location within the site at all times, I recommend that the global and local navigational systems and breadcrumbs are always present no matter which page a user visits. I also recommend moving the information from the bottom of your current site template to the top, the elements such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the contact information. Number 6, if you decide to keep the search engine, users will expect to find the search bar permanently in the top right part of the global navigation. Lastly, if it's not always feasible to expose the local navigational system, I recommend adding bottom and right arrows to global and navigational labels to signal when a menu will drop down or extend. Otherwise, a user may miss the lower levels of information. Number 8 has to do with your organizational system. First, the way people organize information can be ambiguous. Organizing information requires user testing, educated guesses, and intellectual decisions on how to group information. With that being said, I would like to preserve the shallow organizational structure and propose slight revisions based off my research. This is a proposed site map. The labels in orange are proposed label changes, again, programs to events and jobs to job exchange. The labels in purple represent an addition to that category or an instance of cross-referencing. And of course, a strikes through represents where a label should be removed. The recognition program is now cross-referenced in the About section and the Conference section. Since the annual conference is your main event of the year, it's now cross-referenced under Events, and it remains as its own category as a global navigational destination. Since events are driven by volunteers, the volunteer information is underneath events. Business partners is a new global category. This fills that niche of that third party I spoke of earlier. They're not members or non-members, but the partners who wish to request something of CBODN. The job exchange category can expose information specifically for employers and job seekers, and the members only section is a new global category. The renew label gently reminds members to renew each time they log in. Now let me show you some of the prototypes that brings all this together. Here is the homepage. Here you'll see the navigational recommendations I explained earlier and a space for upcoming events. That's there with the intention of listing all upcoming events, conference, evening event, SIG events, all in one place. Here is one subsite, the new OD practitioner SIG page. You'll see here that it inherits the home page template, the primary and secondary tabs are present and highlighted, and the breadcrumbs are present. Here's one more subsite, and it's the Join Today page. It also inherits the home page template, highlights the tabs, and shows breadcrumbs. Real quickly, I also added a progress bar for the member application process. If possible, you can add it to help prospective members understand how long the process will take. So what's the business rationale for these changes? An organization that employs information architecture best practices and conventions, anticipates its users' major informational needs, and speaks the user's language on its website typically enjoys higher user satisfaction and retention. If CBODN implemented some of my recommendations, users would perceive CBODN as having increased quality and favorable differentiation from other professional organizations. This could translate into higher attendance at events, increased membership, higher renewal rates, and a stronger community overall. As I conclude this presentation, allow me to review 6 overall recommendations. Standardize some of the frequently reoccurring terms like OD practitioners with a controlled vocabulary. Consider removing the search engine feature from the site, but if you do decide to keep it, place the search bar in the top right-hand corner of the global navigational system. Alter some of the labels to meet the expectations of users, like renaming programs to events. Implement a standard site template that keeps the navigational systems and breadcrumbs present. Make minor tweaks to the organizational system to improve the chances of users finding the information they're searching for. And lastly, test again. After you implement any changes, retesting will make sure that a fix didn't break something else unintentionally. At this point, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Please feel free to review the raw notes and raw data of my evaluation. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to send me an email or reach me at the number on the screen. Thank you for listening.